President's Trophy race. Do you want it? Do you not want it? Is it a good thing or a bad team, and do teams care? Well, right now, what if I told you that your Boston Bruins were in the perfect position to win the President's Trophy again?
Yeah, America's
Do you
team.
want it?
And you can clip me on that.
Do you want it?
It would be a cool... Here's why I would argue towards wanting it, is that a team hasn't done it since... what was it? Since the Washington Capitals went back-to-back in 2015 through 17. So they're the last team to do back-to-back President's Trophy wins.
They didn't win in either of those years, right?
Did they win in... No, they did not.
They won in 9?
They did.
18. They won the year before the Blues, so 18. Yeah, so they technically didn't.
But here's the reason why I think I might be fine with it, is because every single person who saw Krejci and Bergeron retire for this team projected Bruins to not even make the postseason this year. And that was just disgusting to me. Sorry, as a homer, as a Bruins fan, seeing the roster that we had anyway, even outside of them, yeah, we weren't going to be a powerhouse, but we were the winningest team in NHL history, and we're going to go from first in every category to not making the playoffs. I just thought that was such a stretch. They were easily a playoff team, but here's the thing, is that they're so overperforming everyone's beliefs, like even me. Like,
I don't think they're overperforming though.
They're first place in the Eastern Conference, right? Not even that. They're first place in the league overall.
But as a Bruins fan, if I asked you,
that this was going to happen,
what's their bread and butter, what would you say?
Regular season success.
Like, of their roster, you goon. Like, which area of their roster is their strongest? And their defense. Sure. They only lost offensive players. Dmitry Orlov, I think, is the only guy they lost, and he wasn't playing with them half the season. But we're talking about Bergeron, great Bruin, 60-point player last year, if even, and Krejci, who was just herding sheep.
One of the most underrated players.
Not that year. We didn't need David Krejci that year.
But of our generation.
Sure, I don't even know if David Krejci played a lot in the playoffs. He was slow. David Krejci doesn't fit in the modern NHL.
On Krejci's name.
I love Krejci.
Beast.
We're talking about last year.
He's the reason why
Krejci was out of the NHL for a year, maybe 2. Was it 2 years that he was out?
1 year.
1 year. Comes back, he was too slow. Wasn't meant for the playoffs.
He still pulled up 50, 60
So we're taking Krejci out, sending more responsibility to the guys who deserve it in Coyle and Zacha. So yeah, I think really all you're really missing from that team is Bergeron. Because everything else you added out. You're missing a true number one center. But I think Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha have really kind of grown into it. Mm-hmm. And I think you're talking about a team that's always had the expectations to be the best team because of the perfection line, the locker room presence that Bergeron brought. And now you have a team that's playing with house money. This is something the Bruins never, ever experienced. 2019, they're a wagon. 2013, they're a wagon. They lose both of those series. This year, does anyone consider them to be a wagon? Everyone says Florida, even you and I. Florida, New York, Dallas.
Boston is not in the
same
tier with those teams.
But that's a good thing. And I think that winning the President's Trophy gives them that we're the best team look. And even though maybe people won't believe it, I don't want that. I want them to be underdogs this year. I want that Florida grit. We're the team to beat everybody else. We're not the team to beat. That's what I want. I don't want that President's Trophy. Not because of any curse. I don't believe in the President's Trophy curse. I just don't want that on them. I want them to be the underdogs.
I would just find it encouraging if they did win it, because they're overperforming everyone's expectations. I would love to see them kind of stick it in everyone's face, going, "Oh, you thought that we were going to regress to a non-playoff team or a first-round exit?" That's kind of still up in the air.
That's just your homer bias.
But for them to go back-to-back President's Trophy and show we're still at the top of our game, we're getting older, and we lost massive key pieces to our center depth, and yet we're still in the top of the league because of our tenacity, because of our culture, our defense, our goaltending. We're relying on those guys. They're not a perfect team right now. They are not in the same tier as any of the Stanley Cup contenders, in my opinion.
But are they getting older?
Brad Marchand certainly isn't getting any younger.
That's it.
McAvoy's getting older.
McAvoy is entering his prime.
Hallmark is getting older.
Hallmark is not your goalie of the future. Allmark could be 45 years old right now. It doesn't matter. Allmark's not going to be on the Bruins next season. They can't afford him. I would love it if he is, but I just don't see it happening. They tried to move him at the deadline. Clearly, he's going to go. The Bruins are in a perfect position next year, being a President's Trophy winning team next year. They could get a top line center in the offseason with all the cap space they're going to have. I'm just saying. I don't think it's a bad thing to win the President's Trophy. If you're a team like the Panthers, I think it means more to them than it does to the Bruins. I don't think the Bruins care about it, and I actually don't think that it's a good thing just for the mentality's sake. Now, just a couple stats here. Bruins at home this year, 23-9-6 with 52 points. That's the best record at home by any hockey team. So if the odds of winning the President's Trophy makes the cup go through Boston, okay, maybe, but records show in the past that doesn't really matter. We always lose in Game 7 at Boston or Game 6. Doesn't matter. We always are losing at TD Garden. Do I see the Bruins winning the cup if they win the President's Trophy? No. But as an underdog, I wouldn't bet against them. That's how I feel about it.
I like that vibe of them being an underdog team, meanwhile sneakily being the best team points-wise in the NHL. I think that's a cool storyline. I do agree with you that it's more important for Florida to win the President's Trophy this year if a team needed to. But my bottom line is, if you're the Boston Bruins, you need to be so intentional about finishing ahead of Florida. If that means having the best record in the NHL and you win the President's Trophy, okay, sure, that's another accolade that you can add to the trophy case. But you need to finish in front of Florida, specifically for seeding in the playoffs. Right now, if the playoffs happened today or starting tomorrow, we'd be in first place facing the second wildcard spot, which would be going to Detroit. I'll take that series all day. We should be sweeping.
We would take
Detroit.
Toronto too, though. Realistically, you're just looking at that second round matchup. If I'm a fan of the Bruins or the Panthers, I'm saying to myself, I could take both those teams, whether it's Detroit or Toronto. We're facing each other in the second round. Prep for that.
I'd rather knock out an easy team in the first round and have one of those like Stanley Cup
I think it's going to be pretty easy against Toronto.
Knock each other out in the first round, and then
I think it's going to be pretty easy against Toronto.
I think we win regardless.
I don't actually,
but I think Toronto has a better chance of pushing it to 7 games, whereas Detroit, it should realistically go to 5 games at the absolute most.
Sure, yeah.
I want to rest my guys up heading into the second round. I think the President's Trophy is a priority for you guys because Florida is showing no signs of slowing down. New York is only a point behind you. Vancouver is only a point behind you. There's a lot of teams that are better than you, roster composition-wise.
I hope they win their division, but a team like Vancouver wins the President's Trophy. I'm all for them winning the division. I don't want the President's Trophy, which kind of leads to the next thing, just to wrap up this segment. If not the Beast, then who else? Vancouver has the best goal differential with a plus 58 on the season. Carolina, best play in the last 10 games played. 8-2-0 record, 5-game win streak. It's very possible for them. They're a wagon since the trade deadline. Florida, least goals allowed with 168 on the year as of now. And the New York Rangers, most regulation wins, 46.
That's big.
Rangers are a wagon. And they handed the Bruins an L the other night. That was pretty embarrassing. So let's hope one of those teams wins the President's Trophy. As a Bruins fan, I really hope that they win their division, but I just don't think they need the juju. So anything else you want to add to that?
No.